everybody. Jumbo, it's Judy. That is Swahili, the language of Kenya, and that means hi, how are you doing? You know, we've been visiting different countries. This month we've been in Kenya, which is just one of the most wonderful places for a safari. I'm dressed as you see, sorta, like you might go on a safari. A light colored jacket. Of course, I have to have my little extra here. The beautiful beads that these are actually from Africa. And rugged shoes. Not my typical shoes. These would be great though. These are things that you might wear on a safari. But what kind of safari are we looking for? The safari that we're going to be going on is a safari looking for fashions, for the fashions of Kenya that are, I've got to tell you, y'all, they're beautiful. The colors are so bright. The beads are wonderful. So many wonderful things to see. A couple of things I will tell you. My husband went on a mission trip to Kenya some years back. He noticed a few fashion things that we might want to consider. He noticed the men would wear a kind of a jacket, sports type jacket almost. And on the outside of the jacket were the labels, you know, like our size labels and the designer labels are on the back, and the company that made our clothing, they have torn those labels off and sewn them on the outside of their coats and jackets. So I told my husband, I said, well, I guess, you know, it depends on the label you've got, but it's not the particular label. It's how many labels you've got on your outfit. So that was kind of a thing when he went. But we have a special person that has spent a lot of time over the last 20 years in Africa. A friend of Tanya's, and she is my new friend too. Her name is Elin, and we are delighted to have her. She's a missionary, and she'll be sharing some of her thoughts of fashions in Kenya and Africa.
Hi, my name is Elin Henderson. I'm a missionary with Ethnos 360, also known as New Tribes Mission in Mozambique. I have worked there for almost 20 years, and I just wanted to give you a little glimpse into African fashion. So the first thing I'm wearing today is something that I would wear kind of every day around the village. They use these traditional wraps. I'll show you how we tie them on, and I usually wear, see, underneath something just in case it falls off. Tie it around, bring it around this way and tuck. And I usually wear a comfortable pair of flip-flops, maybe a bracelet, if I have a necklace, which I didn't have a small one to use, and just some simple earrings. So one of my goals, even though I am a missionary, even when I'm overseas and I have to cover up more, because in Africa normally you have to cover most of this area here, so you're wearing more skirts, but I always kind of try to look cute. I try to take their fashion norms and mix it with ours so I don't look frumpy. And so I'll often take a lot of these maxi skirts, which I know in all places are going to be fine because they come all the way down to my ankles, and I'll just pair it with some fun jewelry. And if I'm in a country that's a little more conservative, like when I get up to Tanzania and places like that where they like to cover it all the way down to about 3/4 length, then I'll just throw on like a little chambray with it. And I carry this with me everywhere. So if I go into a church and I think, ooh, I need to cover up a little more, I'll have this. I also have a couple of cute just short sleeve white or black that I'll also throw over the top. So sometimes though, I'm not in the bush in a rural setting, I'm going to be more in an urban setting. And like I said, Africans love to dress up, it's wonderful. And so this is more of like where they take the fun prints that they would wear normally wrapped around them and turn them into skirts. I don't have the full outfits from the top to the bottom, but this is a fun, it's almost, you can hear it, like a crinoline type material, just a fun skirt. And they'll wear the fancy high heel shoes in town, and they like the big jewelry, the fun jewelry, all matching. If you can do a matching headscarf, that's another thing that they really love to do. I don't generally do the matching headscarf, but this is just kind of a fun outfit that I'll actually even wear here when I'm going to go visit in churches. I like to take a lot of the African, fun, chunky African jewelry and piece it with pieces that I would wear back here in the States. So this is something I might even just wear to church on Sunday, but it shows kind of that real fun beading. Although my children say this looks like nerves on a rope, but I like it. And I'll just piece I'll change up the same look to make it a little bit more casual and just do one pair of like big fun earrings with a bracelet and have the matching beaded shoes to go along with it. And finally, kind of the same dress, but now I'm using jewelry that is actually more from Mozambique. The beading comes from northern Africa. This is more of Mozambique style, where they'll do actually seeds and wood, but I can still take the same dress and make it work. So we live in a remote people group. We work among the Muniga people, and they love to dress up for bigger occasions. So what I've done now is I've kind of taken what I had before, and I'm going to show you how I take it up a notch when I'm going to go to one of their bigger occasions. So I'll dress up my shoes a little, and all this fun jewelry with the beading and all in it is from Kenya and Tanzania, so further north. And then what they'll do is they'll wear a traditional wrap, and usually it's a matching top and then kind of a matching shawl that would go over the top like this and just kind of wrap around like this. And this is how you would look if you were really dressed up nice in the village there. The only difference is they only put lipstick on the bottom lip. They don't wear lipstick on the top, which is really unique. But they do like the lipstick, but they'll put it there. They like the big jewelry. They like the big earrings, the necklaces, the bracelets. So even in really rural Africa, if they can dress up, they really love to dress up.
As you see, I'm wearing a absolutely beautiful dress. It came from Kenya, somewhere near Kenya, we think. It was a gift to my son from a friend, and I think it's gorgeous. And it has this gorgeous gold embroidery up here. It has what looks like a tie-dye effect, and I put a little belt with it. I thought it would look good with the belt. And so it's a beautiful piece that came from Africa. Another thing that you probably noticed that I have on is this. This is actually ivory that while my husband was there, it was still legal to bring ivory back home. So he brought this beautiful little, looks like a rose to me, flower out of ivory. And I have a bracelet still that he brought. This little beaded bracelet here also came from Africa. So there's so many things that are beautiful about Africa. I do want to tell you a wonderful story that my husband shared about his trip when he went to Africa many years ago. They went to a school where they had girls speaking Swahili, but they also knew English. Well, they spoke British English, and it was beautiful. While they were there, they shared Christ, of course, and they told the story of the Ethiopian. The girl came up to my husband afterwards, and in this most beautiful English dialect, she said to him, "In light of all that you've shared here today, could you tell me how I might come to know Christ, how I might be saved?" Well, that's what it's all about, girls. Wherever we go, we want to let the inside reflect on the outside. And our fashions is only a part of that, isn't it? Bye-bye.